Welcome everybody, my name is Ryan and we are back with more Dwarf Fortress today. This is my return to the game after about a year or so of not playing it, so trying to relearn some of the basics, catch up with some of the new additions, but it's so far been really enjoyable. And if you are just tuning in for the first time, I've got a playlist linked for this series down in the description of the video, so go get yourself all caught up. I've been learning a ton thanks to some commenters out there who have helped me along to suggestions. A couple of you guys definitely had like the water thing figured out well before I did, for sure, but let's jump right back into it. So, speaking of figuring things out, I think in between recordings I was thinking about Dwarf Fortress, considering that's one of the great things of this game. It makes you think about it when you're not playing it, how to do certain things. And the burrows, I realized why not all of the dwarves were respecting the burrow. If I would order them to go below, there were still people up here cutting, grabbing stuff. Well, it's because you've got to assign the dwarfs as they trickle in from other dwarf holds, the migrants, in other words. Oh, yeah, there we go. So I think that's going to solve our issue totally now. I just have to remember to continue to do that. Let's make sure that's saved it. Oops, wrong button. Yeah, now we have 24 assigned. There's 24 in our population. So in other words, if I hit this and unpause it, let's see, we do have, yeah, there's one dwarf, our carpenters up here. Oh, there's a couple. So yeah, we'll see these two, hopefully, if everything's set right, they'll retreat to the stairs and go down, and then no other dwarves should pop back up here. All right, they're grabbing their stuff, going below. This guy's, I think if they're already committed to the task, they won't actually stop what they're doing necessarily. Like, this guy's going to go up and build the wall, and then he'll return. But look at this. Oh, let's not get too distracted, but our expedition leader has created a bituminous coal door. She claims it as a family heirloom. So yeah, we left on our last episode a bit of a cliffhanger. I probably should have mentioned it, but if you guys were waiting to see what our expedition leader created with their mysterious mood, it's a cold door. You know, it probably is not much to look at. Actually, it might be kind of a really deep black door that looks like it. Maybe you walk into the door because it's so dark it appears not to exist. You think it's just an open hole into the cave. And the doors just constantly walk into it. That's my headcanon for the door. But you know what we will do with this? We'll install it on one of our royalty bedrooms and stuff. All right, so they're going below. Oh, shoot, I did just see one of them come back up. But you know what? Hold on. That's the human bard. Okay, so that makes sense. Kel the miner looks like he just came up. Well, maybe I didn't figure out the burrow. Nope, this guy just came up too. All right, well, I don't quite have the burrow figured out. Let's see, suspend this burrow. Will not respect the bets. I wonder why. I'm still puzzled by that, because I think that was the cause of our digging issues in the last episode, but maybe I'll spend more time playing with it offline or in between recordings, and I will maybe even Google it if I have to. Sometimes it's just what it comes to, but let's see here. Yeah, all right. So we're looking good. Just checking out the second story of our walls. They are fully in place with blueprints except for this one little spot. So once we get everything laid, this will be the last one we place, and then we'll go up a level. Again, we're going to keep going, as I've mentioned previously, 3 or 4 stories, but it's a process. Sometimes we might just have to pause it and work on other stuff, but for now, 24 people. I was thinking maybe one of the reasons we're getting such smaller migrations is because I think that, you know, I don't care about that. The civilization we came from, let's see, civilizations, yeah, we're not very big, you know, kind of mentioned that during the world generation, I kind of like to go with the smaller size civilization because it makes me feel like I'm really contributing as we add new fortresses and they start to thrive. If they survive at all, then yeah, like I said, we're actually doing good for our dwarven companions back home. So I'm not actually sure what I'm looking at here, but regardless, I think that might be one of the reasons. So at least that's what I'm telling myself. And no, it's not the fact that my fortress is disgusting or anything. Okay, we got through that autosave, which sometimes does take a moment or two for the game to save, but it also indicates we are now in autumn, so the seasons are really flying by. I think this will be our second winter that we've gone through with this fort, and I'm actually proud of myself how long we've survived, but the game has been fairly merciful, I will say that. We haven't had any like early were beasts, or you can get things like were rats or all kinds of different were animals. And if one of those gets like loose in your fort and starts biting your dwarfs, it's over, basically. I mean, at least that's how it used to be, because that were sickness will pass on to everybody. But we're looking good. I'm still mighty happy about this area down here, but I want to now try and tackle something which is always like a struggle for me for whatever reason, and that is making soap. As simple as that sounds, it's a multi-step process in a sense. It's definitely takes multiple workshops. So we've got 2 jewelers. Let's see, we've got a furnace. I think I started opening up some areas up here. So uh-oh, we got an alert. Hold your horses. A caravan. Okay, great. Nice, nice, nice. This will be our second one for this fortress. Okay, so while that's happening, like I said, actually, I think I'll pause it because we're going to get to the trading in a moment. Let's go back to our manufacturing layer here, the workshop zone. So in order to get some soap laid, I'm just double checking. Yeah, making sure I didn't place any of the thing. I don't want to be placing workshops twice. If I can avoid that, we're good. We're good. Okay, so in order to get the soap made, we need to lay a couple of different workshops. One of them is obviously going to be the soap makers. We'll plop that down there. Some of these take specialty ingredients like buckets. And what kind of material? We'll just do dolomite. There we go. Now, next, we need the ashery. I feel this was the one I was looking for. I feel like I already laid one of these, but you know what it was? I think I intended to lay it, but I didn't have the right ingredient for it. Let me find the ashery. Oh, there it is right there. Top of the list. Boom. Oh yeah, we needed blocks specifically. This is different than just the random stones. These are more of a refined, and a barrel. A couple of barrels. There we go. So we'll let those get going. Yeah, a couple of doors. Hopefully we'll get those constructed. Then we can start to puzzle out what we need for soap too. I might actually have to Google it because I've kind of forgotten some of the ingredients, but let's deal with this. And additionally, if the caravan has soap, I'm just going to buy that. And obviously, we'll still want to be able to make our own at some point, become self-sufficient. But yeah, let's sort through these messages real quick. Caravan, all right. At some point, the diplomat will want to talk to us. So I think what we'll do is we'll come to our fort. Let's go ahead and click on our marketplace, and we'll order that the broker is requested. Once he gets up here and we chat with them, talk about what they are going to bring for next year, we'll start to trade a little bit. Diplomacy has commenced. Luckily, it's dwarf to dwarf. We haven't seen an elven caravan yet, or a human one, but those are definitely possible. Although the elves can get upset with us if they visit our area and see how many of the trees we've cut down. They can start to issue like ultimatums to us about no longer cutting trees. It's pretty funny, but for whatever reason, we haven't seen them. I think it does matter too, like in the world where we are located in relative distance to other, like for instance, if you set up on an island with no other factions on that island, I'm pretty sure you'll never get trades, you'll never get raided. Correct me if I'm wrong about that, some of the veterans. I know there's a few folks who have been kind of helping me out with some of the things over the few episodes we've had. But anyway, the diplomacy, here's what I requested for next year, hoping they'll bring us. I remembered that we're kind of low on animals, so hopefully they'll bring some of those. And some plaster and quicklime, that stuff, again, is good to trade, a little bit tricky to make, and of course seeds. So not too much of a request, but that does it for the actual diplomacy. Now it's time to trade. There we go. So let's go back real quick, because what we should do is move goods up here. I'm going to pause it again. Good at auto pauses. This time around, our first trade, I didn't have a lot of stuff prepared that was good trading material. We just tried furniture, which has kind of a low value but a really high weight, which is not ideal. I wasn't able to get much out of it. But this time around, let's check the gems. Let's see, rough gems, cut gems. Oh yes, this is our inventory here that we're going through, not the trader. This is just, oh boy, yeah. And there's not much use for these cut ones except to trade with or to use to encrust, other further valuable stuff like trade goods and furniture. But with these, let's see, how do I select all of them? Yeah, I just want all of these. Where's the command for that? I thought there was a command for that. Sort by value. Wait, let's go down to the bottom. No. All right, well, I'll just click a few times here. We're bringing all these to the top. Value's decent. It's not the best I've ever seen. Pretty much. Oh, here we go. Okay, so we're starting to see some more valuable stuff. And, all right, not bad, not bad. Once we get metal, like some valuable metals, we can do like steel goblets encrusted with these gems and stuff. And now we're talking some really nice trade value. But, all right, so we'll bring those up. And let's see, I wonder where that door is that we just made. Oh, look at the value on that. I'm not going to sell it, though, unless we got somehow real desperate. But no, we'll just install that in our own fortress. Oh, here's large gems. Yeah, put that on the list. I guess we got one of those too. Musical instruments, we did make a bunch of lollics, but those are for our own value, or our own purpose. I mean, maybe we will make more in the future. Oh, I've got some statues too. These need to be placed throughout the fortress. See, this is a good way of just kind of seeing our inventory as well. I got a ton of chairs. I think I over-ordered on chairs. Jugs and stuff. All right, so, oh yeah, we got a bunch of hives. Let me go through and put maybe a few more things up here. I only have one crossbow, that's sad. And then we'll get to the fun part, looking through the trader's inventory, what we can buy. Now that is not too bad. There was only about 30 or so items. I didn't add too much more. There was a ring, a bracelet we had. I guess I ordered them to make those at some point, or maybe some migrants brought them in. I don't know where these came from, to be honest. There's that gem. Also, I noticed the value of this roasted pond turtle was like equal to a cut gem. So just went ahead and threw on the roast. All traders would appreciate a good home cooked meal from time to time. And the value can't be denied. But either way, it is 16, whatever that is, pounds. I don't know. So let's go through and start to do some shopping, some fun stuff here. Now, there's interesting varieties here. So the water skins are very helpful. Sometimes, again, it can be a process to get leather working up and going. We don't really have a leather worker, so we'll just buy this stuff. But be careful which ones you put on the list, because 24, 20, 1,000. For whatever reason, this llama leather water skin is super valuable. But look at this, too. I was looking at their animals. They brought all males with them. Oh my gosh, that's what that's the opposite of what we need. But either way, let's see. We're doing okay on drink. Actually, we're not. Oh my god, I just realized we're pretty low. I'm gonna have to sort that out when we finish trading here. But I will grab another copper pick. But, oh, speaking of precious metals too, I actually was looking through the bars that we had too while I was putting things up to trade. We've got plenty of silver now and bronze. I just started going through our list in the last one and ordering a bunch of stuff made, even if I wasn't sure if we had the stuff, and we do. But we'll get to that in a moment too. So let's see. Toga? Any of the dwarves want to wear a toga? Alright, so the bags, it's always real important to look what's in them here. Pigtail seeds, yes. I basically want all the seeds. There's spawn, that means seeds, rock nuts. Those can either be food, keeping an eye on the value versus the trader profit. We want that trader profit to stay green, but obviously we want to use most of our value here. Okay, take all those. Now let's see, more seeds. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to buy all the seeds. That's 200. Yeah, some of these, I think the bags on some of these are really valuable. Let me go through and just make sure. Yeah, let's not buy that one. All right, that's good. It will be nice to have the extra bags as well, because as these seeds get used up, obviously the bags will just be placed in various stockpiles and reused. Now, red sand I don't need. We can make our own sand. Let's see, plump helmet spawn. Oh, wow, they brought a lot of seeds. They did. It's because I requested them, so I'm glad. I don't see any plaster or anything like that, unfortunately. So, again, that would be for the hospital, making casts and stuff. We'll just have to make it ourselves. Now, it's not a bad idea maybe to buy a couple of bins of cloth and leather, since, yeah, once again, we don't actually have our own production going. And I don't have any direct ideas like of what to use this for yet, but I'm thinking ahead to like these mysterious moods that take the dwarves. If you've got a bin of leather sitting around and one of the dwarves suddenly is inspired and they need leather, boom, you've got it. You don't have to worry about suddenly getting like a leather production going, and because that often won't work. Okay, so anyway, let's go past the clothing. We've still got a decent amount of trade here, but there can be really interesting stuff towards the bottom. There's food here. We're okay on food for sure. Our kitchen staff has been phenomenal. But I think I will grab all the plump helmets. Those can be turned into beer, like a brew. And let's see, leaves and fruit, not interested. The red, well, I'll take the thread because it's super cheap. The backpack is cheap. Quiver, won't need the blade, corkscrew. Those things are for like traps and such. Copper spike cheese. I think we can actually, we're making our own cheese. Wow, look at the volume of that one crutch there. It's like one of the most valuable items this guy's carrying. All right, and we're at the bottom, unfortunately. Let's just see here. There's a couple of scrolls that look interesting. Oh, so our trader profit just changed from green to yellow. Let's see. Let's buy the sheet of parchment, and now we'll see. I like to start a collection of scrolls and books and codices. Then we can, like, once we build a library, at least we'll have a few, like, interesting books to put in there. All right, that looks good. It's a good trade. Yeah. He's making a decent profit, but that's okay. You want to keep him happy for sure. You can even do gifts and stuff. So, there we go. Yep. Wonderful. Thank you for your business. Seems very happy about the trade. We could have possibly got like the trade to go through when his profit was only yellow, but you know, like I said, keep him happy, baby. And these gems, oh, they're a dime a dozen. You better believe it. So let's cancel the broker request. We'll say no trader needed. And they will, of course, move those goods now. Just in the normal process of the fortress, the haulers will come up here and take that stuff down below. Taking a look at the still down here, I think it might not be a bad idea to build another still. So we're going to have two of them. Only need the one kitchen. It really does feel like they're doing a great job providing food. Yeah, I even paused food production there for a little while, and they still kept right up with it. But they are a thirsty lot, these dwarves. So I had opened up this area down here just kind of as a flex space if we needed more storage, or we can put workshops in it. So let's go look at that. 80 bronze bars. Hold on, we can see more bars in the list. silver. So we've got 12 silver, 10 iron. We're going to go do that next, actually set up some orders for our metal. Lead's really handy just for making miscellaneous stuff out of metal. If you need like some flasks or something, make your dwarves drink out of lead. There'll be no consequences for that. All right, dolomites. I don't care, just use some wood. So we'll get that going. And one thing it's good too with like splitting, having two different stills. For instance, there's a lot of orders here. Now the meat, I think this is irrelevant, but extracting from plants, when the dwarf is here doing this, nobody's, making brew. So if we split these two, I can do that through the work order. Whenever you set one up, it asks you which shops you want to designate orders for. So that's something we'll do, is further split the tasks here. That's also a really helpful thing to have like multiple farmers workshops, one of them just for like processing plants and then shearing animals, and then the other one dedicated just to cheeses too. I just talked myself into it. Let's go ahead and make another farmers workshop. There we go. We'll put that over here too. If I do that like that. It's all right. Fine. So now let's go below. We'll just use some wood from the surface. F4 takes us to this level. We should go, maybe real quick, let's visit the bedroom level. So we've decided to stop working on this level in terms of just developing it more. I'm digging it out more, I should say. I am going to obviously put doors and beds and chests and cabinets, and then we'll eventually engrave all the walls. But yeah, there's a little issue with the water that's right above this level. So the next set of bedrooms that we need, I'm going to dig down here. It'll probably mirror this a lot, except there won't be a bunch of temples here. I might actually set up another tavern below, but either way, again, I get distracted here. It's easy for me to do, especially in this game when there's so much going on. But here we see our metalsmith's forge. Now, important note, I should probably have them go ahead and make a second anvil right away. It will take, I think, some iron, but what is that other objects? Iron, yeah, anvil, there it is. Again, so we can have two of these shops eventually. I think we've got multiple blacksmiths now too, so we'll set that as the priority for the rest of these. Let's go in and designate some work orders. This will actually, you know what? I don't know if I want, because it shows not only every item like a barrel, but it's going to go through the list of each metal type too. It's kind of an inefficient list to go through. So let's back out of that and we'll go to the proper work order screen down here. And from here, I can just probably, if we further refine it, does that help the thing at all? Metalsmith's Forge. Yeah, oh no, the list appears identical. Well, in this case, yeah, I'll just have to be utilizing, here's what I can do. We'll look up silver. Okay, that's not a bad idea. So now everything in this list appears or is made of silver. Yeah, that'll be easier for me. So with silver, there's one thing in particular I always like to make right off the bat. Let's see. All right, I'll just search for it. Mace. There it is. So in terms of your weapons, you're probably going to want most of them made of iron, steel, bronze even, copper, if you're starting out. Heck, if you're in late game, you want adamantium weapons. But in terms of maces, I've always been told that silver's good because it's a really dense metal. So I don't want to go overboard and have like an entire set of mace dwarves with silver maces. So we'll reduce that count down to just 2. Yeah, that's good. And it's just a single order, so it won't. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, make crafts. That's where that wrist bracelet and ring came from. I bet those crafts. All right, so we've got that set. Let's go back and oh shoot, I was hoping that would keep the list open. Well, no worries. Let me set a few more work orders for the silver stuff, and then I'll show you the list once it's done. The fortress is unpaused, and whoops, you can see I've got quite a list of work orders here now for the forge. I did make some flasks. Those will hopefully be, encrusted eventually and really good for trading down the road, maybe the next year. But after that, we're going to switch to armor making, specifically the bronze that we've been accumulating. Let's go to our stocks real quick and just look at the bars. 134, decent amount of iron. Some of these will be used for that anvil. Silver, decent, but bronze, I've got 80 bars. So I was like, yeah, I should definitely. I mean, it's not going to be the best armor, but you can do a lot worse than bronze armor, no doubt about it. It will be good to get it together. Look at that. Damn, I got a lot. So yeah, it'll be good to, outfit our first squad of warrior dwarves. So important not to neglect the military, and it is something I have kind of neglected up to this point, but honestly it's because I don't quite remember how to get it up and running. But let's go to, is it level F8? What did I set it? This one. Okay, so this is our administrative level with the offices. I've got a couple of kind of low level, noble bedrooms. We'll need a few to further beautify those. Here's our crappy inn. It's our meeting place. And over here, I've dug out several new rooms, and we want to fill these. This is going to be like our barracks, our training room, and maybe even the armory, where we'll store like the weapons and the armor, have those separated from the stockpile down below. So first things first, let's get a few doors made or placed. F, and then, door is its own thing. It's BPR. There we go. Trying to get used to the hotkeys again. All right, it sucks because this door I do not want to use, so I'm going to have to choose each door after I click it, which is a bit annoying. But what I think I probably want to do to alleviate that problem, let's go pause this real quick. We will set that up, but let's go back to this level, and we're going to go below. No, actually, you know what? I left myself a couple of large rooms. So these will be like the room for the king. You can actually get true nobility, not just these low-level barons and stuff. So if we get somebody really, really high up who demands an extremely beautiful room, it'll be over here and over here. Or maybe we can turn one into a library. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and place that really fancy door that was made by our leaders. So we will just place Enan Nokzam. It's got a proper name right there. And now that removes it from the list. So as we return here, I've obviously already placed the doors, but it'll just kind of remove it, make it easier to deal with placing stuff. But now we do want like a separate barracks with bedrooms here for the dwarves. We're going to, I think it's 10. Isn't that how many? We'll switch to closest. 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10. We don't have a lot of dwarves, so I'm hesitant to start filling a list of, military dwarves, because it's going to take them away from their normal duties basically at half the year. It's typically how I set up my training regiments. But one thing we will do is let's go to our dwarves. Let's look at nobles and administrators. If we set someone as a military commander, he's not necessarily going to demand anything, and he won't train unless I tell him to. But I think that allows me now to set up a proper fighting force, and I can see how many slots I need to fill. Let me figure it out. I haven't noticed the military screen at all yet, so I'm gonna have to find that. Oh, and look at this. We got some new migrants. Yep, we're up to 26. Let's unpause it and just see how many we get. Well, is it really only going to be 2? I think it might just be 2. Oh my gosh. These migrant waves, they're so small. Well, let's just see if anybody jumps out at us. Go to labor. Any new interesting people? Let's see. Gem Cutter, that's our guy, right? No, this guy doesn't have... No, he doesn't have a task yet. Oh, it's a new dude. Nice. Awesome. We've got 3 gem cutters now. Wowzers. You know what I'm going to do? I'm also going to set those guys to engrave, too. Chief Medical Dwarf. We'll put that on their list. Let's see. Wait, where is it? Gem cutter. Yeah, at least one of them. You know, because we only have the 2 gem workshops. So maybe I can actually start to set up some engraving too. It's not a bad idea, but let's stay focused here. Oh, so easy to get distracted, people. So easy. All right, now in addition to the beds, they also need some chests in their rooms. So we'll lay 10 of those. If 10's too many, if it's only like squads of 8 or whatever, then I could just remove them. I've literally just blanked on it. So 6, that's 10 right there. That's a nice little layout. So we'll let the dwarves work on this. Next is we want to set up like an archery range. And that can be a little bit complicated, tricky. Maybe I'm overthinking it sometimes, but we'll work on something. And let's see. After that, like I said, we've got a few more things to add. We will need like a proper melee room for them to train, but I think I'm still planning on doing that on the surface. Yeah, try and avoid that like cave adaptation sickness stuff. I almost Googled it, but I found the right icon. It's all the way over here on the right next to the world map, which I guess makes sense. The squad sidebar. That's what we want. So let's set up a new squad and we choose what leader. We don't have military commander. I moved that dude down to the captain. Maybe we'll get an actual commander with like real skills, but for now, we want to choose the leader, and we can do an archery unit, leather, metal, since we're going bronze. And they will just go and pick up the best armor that fits them, but you can go through each dwarf if you want and like order them to wear certain things, even, you know, wield certain weapons. So the Fierce Oars, that's a good name. No special orders, routine duty off. Yeah, we'll leave that for now, but let's see. Okay, about the symbol. Names fine. View positions. All right, yeah, there are 10, including the leader. Perfect, just what I thought. And select a squad. So now if I wanted to fill this out, we would click a position and just assign a dwarf, you know. They don't have to have skills. They will train, you know. It's helpful if the leader has some skills that he can teach. But just like anything else, the dwarves will get better as they practice. And they do level up pretty quick, so to speak. But yeah, we're not going to start assigning any of these guys. Like I said, the fortress is only at 26. Literally filling this up and having them start to train every other month would like wipe out half of the labor force. So we will just back to the squads, close it down. I will leave the Fierce Oars with their leader there, because once we do get a nice migrant wave and the population is boosted, yeah, we're definitely going to set up. And, you know, hopefully by that point, too, that bronze armor will be finished. And, hey, who knows? Maybe we'll even have some fancy weapons. Oh, you know, one thing I forgot to put on order at the blacksmith is chain. And again, this is where having like an off metal, like lead or something like that, or even just copper if you got a lot of it, is good. Because, yeah, we can make some chains out of this. Doesn't need to be iron. We'll save that for our armor and weapons. But these are going to be set up in our little prison area. That's right. There is a whole justice side. And I actually rediscovered this when I was looking for the squads tab. So the justice, yeah, we do need a couple of nobles or, you know, administrators here. The sheriff and the hammerer is like the person who metes out the justice. You know, they'll go and hammer other dwarves as punishment. And of course, the sheriff, pretty obvious. I think the commander can play a part too. I was reading a little bit of it. But, yeah. So we'll at least get some of the infrastructure. And again, just having so few dwarves is really cramping my style and promoting a bunch of other stuff. But, yeah, this is the mausoleum level. It's also good for justice, you know. It's one of our lower levels. But regardless, you know, having this centralized staircase does kind of make the fortress so much more efficient. Let's see. Uh-oh, we got a buzzard fighting. Our farmer is fighting. Uh-oh. Go to that. They're up here fighting. Well, that's not great, but it's a buzzard, so probably not much we could do by slamming the walls closed. Let's see. A couple things we want to do with the surface, too, because that drink is getting critically low. In fact, I kind of forgot about it. So we want to prioritize a bunch of collection here at the surface. Yeah, there's a bunch of berry bushes and stuff. I can see that now. I should have kept on top of that more. But one thing we maybe want to do, too, now that we've actually got walls, set up a couple of farm plots on the surface, because the type of crops that we can plant, we can do like strawberries and stuff on the surface, whereas underground you can't really grow that kind of crop. So there is a difference there, and that'll help us with our brew. So we'll get that going. Let's also actually set an order to chop some wood. I notice our stockpile is getting pretty low. Set that to a 1 priority. Yeah. Man, that drink is not good. I mean, at least we do have access to water, so that's a positive. But all right, you know what? Let's get this still going. I think it's ready. The work orders are intact. I'm not going to worry about further dividing the tasks. I mentioned it, but I'm not going to do it because I think what we're missing is a second distiller here. So let's go to labor. And we will set, I think that's a pre-made, wasn't it? Or did I set one up? Orderlies? No, hold on. Let me find it here. Wait a second. Maybe that's why. Yeah, it might help if I actually had one dedicated to it. Because I think I'm just relying on our planter to come around and do it whenever he's not busy. Yeah. So let's add a new work detail. We'll come in here and we'll just name it. There we go, brewer. That's good enough. And let's further refine it now. We actually need to define it, I should say. I think it's green. No, that's leather making. Hold on, let me find the brewery. Okay, here it is. It's an orange brewing. Yeah, under farming related. I think I'm going to set up one for beekeeping too, so we'll say that's done. And yeah, let's go in and add another work detail real quick, and we'll then assign the dwarves to these two once we're ready. There we go, beekeeper. And this is actually related to the brewery because, you know, if we start to get some honey going, then they can make mead. So that's just even better. All right, and beekeeping, let me find it. Here we go. Beekeeping, right under pressing. Yeah, there's soap making. We'll have to set up a job for that too eventually, but that's not as big a priority as this, getting this drink situation. All right, so we've got the beekeeper now and the brewer. Let's see. So, competent brewer, novice brewer. We'll set those two. Yep. They've got a lot of other tasks, but hopefully... Oh, this guy's a miner. Either way, let's go ahead and see the beekeeper. Now, this guy has kind of too many jobs at this point. Although I did give him a skill in beekeeping, it was probably a wasted point. Let's look for, some of these folks who don't have anything going on. I'll set up the clerk here as the beekeeper. You don't really need a whole bunch of beekeepers. And I've been kind of holding off placing the beehives because... Yeah, you don't really want it at the ground level because dwarves will start getting stung and stuff, but I mean, unless I place it like at the very, very top, I think what I'll do just to kind of keep them out of the way, give us more like planting room down below, we'll put them on this level because now that the walls are almost fully installed, there's not going to be a bunch of traffic here. So yeah, that should work. Let's go in and place, I think it's under workshops and then farming, right? Yeah, there's the hive. Use the closest. I wonder how many we actually have. Let's check it out. Oh yeah, I did quite a few, 10 of them. Perfect, makes sense. All right, so let me just lay these out. And I believe that it will be totally fine at this elevated level. Select that. Yeah, we'll do 5 on that side. We'll come over here and do 5 on the other 2. And whoops, we've already noticed that there are like wild beehives around, so that's what the dwarves will do. They'll go grab some of those, and hopefully they don't get stung too much, but he'll just have to work on that beekeeping skill. Oh boy. Yeah, the drinks are getting real bad here. So I'm down here just very closely monitoring these stills. There's not a lot of action going to the still. Yeah, I think we're going to need to do more foraging up top. I'm not sure if the farmers are even doing that right now, but I went to into the stills, and what I've done is instead of like further refining work orders, I just suspended. Like this one is now suspended from working on plants, and it will just focus on the fruit and the mead. And then this one is suspended from fruit and mead now. So essentially, yeah, you can see just by pausing the work order, I don't need to mess with which station does which necessarily from that screen. It's a bit easier to do it that way, but man, there's still just nobody coming over here. Wow, wow, wow. We're down to 3 drinks. Let's pause it. Let me look at the task. Storing items in stockpile, storing location. So the dwarves aren't working. No job. The weaponsmith and the gem cutter. I think this weaponsmith and gem cutter need to be repurposed a bit. So, yeah, let's go back to labor. We'll just further give these guys more jobs to do. So it's the weaponsmith and the gem cutter. Huh. And at this point, I am starting to suspect it's not dwarves that we need, it's the ingredients. So let's actually go back into the labor again. Labor. And let's look at plant gatherers. Yeah, we need more. Let's see. Stone carver. Who doesn't have any jobs? There we go. We definitely need to add some of these guys. This guy's got a little bonus to it. The broker. Because this isn't really a job that'll be constantly in need, but we just need a bunch of people to get up to the surface and start clearing some plants for the still. Oh, let's see if that does the trick. Oh, here's the buzzard corpse too. I hope that gets used. Oh, we're out of drinks. Oh no, that's when things can start to get real bad, no doubt about it. But I shouldn't have let it get to this point. Oh, we just got 5. Okay. We're coming back. Those won't last long, though. Let's see if we can pull this off. The farms are looking real nice, though. Yeah, these are all being used, basically. Let's set up plump helmets. So once these come in, we should be able to brew more. But, oh my gosh, guys, you can see even once the fort gets, like, up off its feet, or onto its feet, it's no longer taking baby steps. Still, disaster can strike, sometimes in forms you might not expect, such as a drought of alcohol. But for a dwarf, that is definitely a disaster. So let's see if we can pull ourselves back up, get drunk once again, but we're going to wait till the next episode to see if we can pull it out. Yep, we'll have to end again on a cliffhanger. This time it's a cliffhanger made out of empty barrels. So, hope you guys will continue to tune in for the Dwarf Fortress series. I am having a blast playing it. I tell you, these recordings go by so quick for me. So, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.